Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to Garage Gossip. My name is Madam, and today, another Wednesday episode. Props to me for getting this episode out on Wednesday. I hope it comes out on Wednesday because when I'm recording this, obviously it's not Wednesday, it's Tuesday. So fingers crossed. Is this working? Oh yeah, it is. Fingers crossed that I get this out on Wednesday. Today we will be talking about preseason testing, Drive to Survive. I have some F1 Academy news. I have some F2 news. So plenty of stuff to talk about and to take in. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Alrighties. Let's just start with preseason testing immediately. It honestly feels so long ago, but it also feels like yesterday. I don't know what's happening there. So preseason testing. I watched Wednesday in the morning without sound because I was in class, but I still watched it. I did not watch in the afternoon. I did watch Thursday morning with sound this time because I was at home. And I watched like the last hour in the afternoon on Thursday, and then on Friday I watched the whole entire day. Which honestly, don't get me wrong, I love F1, but just a whole entire day of F1, I was a little bit over it at the end of the day. I was like, okay, guys, let's wrap it up. Let's just wrap this up that I can just do other things, watch other things, listen to other things. And it's not that I was like that I had to watch it and then I had to listen to it. It's not that I like had to do that. It's just in my mind I was like, I can watch it, so I'm gonna watch it. But the whole entire day was actually maybe a teeny tiny bit too much for me. But anyway, I wrote some things down and I just put it in little things, but I probably will talk about more about it. So I wrote like strongest team with the strongest lineup, weakest team, biggest jump, and biggest slump. Those are like the 5 categories that I will be talking about and whatever. So after preseason testing, I think the team going into the season the strongest, so the strongest team is McLaren. Just purely based on the speed they had, the lap times they did, their whole dynamic as a team as well. I know obviously they came out of last season as the winners of the Constructors' Championship, and I think carrying that, they really tried to carry that through to this year, and they succeeded. Their car is great. I feel like their drivers are an amazing pair. They can both drive very quickly, which I think is going to lead to very high tension situations. But you know, fun, whatever. I just think for me, McLaren is going into this season as the strongest team, and I personally believe that they are definitely gonna be a competitor in the constructors championship this year once again, and I hope as well in the drivers championship. I really need Lando to be world champion. Like, I'm manifesting that shit. I've been manifesting that shit since I got into F1, which is 2 years ago, I think. This is my third year watching the whole entire season of F1. So, yeah, about 2 years ago since I got into F1. I watched it before as well, but just not as religiously as I do now. So, yeah, McLaren manifesting that Lando will be world champion, manifesting that McLaren will be world champion. Yeah, but the team with the strongest lineup, which is not the same as the strongest team, is I think Ferrari, because Charles and Lewis. And I saw their lap times and I was like, bruh, the car is not the best car on the grid, but these drivers just make it work. Right? So we need to look out for them. We need to keep an eye on them. You know what I mean? And then I actually wrote 2 teams for this prompt. I also said Williams because the lap times Carlos was putting out of that Williams, I was like, what the fuck is happening here? He was the fastest person on day 2 of testing in a Williams, guys. If it was at Ferrari, I would have believed it, but I was flabbergasted when I saw that the fastest time of the whole entire day in a freaking Williams. He was, I think, the first person to exceed the fastest time of last season during qualifying. I think, but I don't know if that stat is correct. So don't take my word for that. But yeah, in fucking sane. Then the weakest team, which I also have two teams for this. The first one, I wrote Sauber, just purely because their lap times weren't great. Obviously, we don't know fuel load, we don't know the settings that they put on the car, we don't know that much. But when the teams, like when one of the drivers does a race run, you can kind of compare them, because at a certain point they're gonna have done the same amount of laps and they're gonna have had the same amount of fuel in the car. You know what I mean? So based on that, all of this is Sauber. I don't know. I didn't see that much of them somehow. They didn't show that much of the Saubers on the broadcast of F1 TV, which I think it was the same one that they showed on Sky Sports, because they were like working together for preseason testing, which I really enjoyed. I gotta say that I really enjoyed that, because obviously since I have F1 TV, I never get to watch the broadcast of Sky Sports, which obviously I will also never do in Belgium because Sky Sports is bound to the UK. But I miss Crofty. Like, I love Crofty, and getting to hear Crofty on the preseason testing broadcast, and Karoon as well. I love all the people on the Sky Sports team. I love them, except for Danica Patrick. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me, bitch. Except for her, I love everyone on the Sky Sports team. So it was very fun to hear new voices and to hear them for once on the F1 TV stream. Anyway, so yeah, the Saubers, I didn't see that much of them on the stream. So I don't know. I just feel like they didn't have a great preseason testing. But obviously they had their work cut out for them after last season. They also have two new drivers. They signed Nico Hülkenberg for the long term, I think, because Nico is German and obviously Sauber turns into Audi, which is German, next season. And then they also signed Gabriel Bortoleto. And actually, Gabi, I really hope the Sauber car is better than last season, because I need Gabi to score points this season. Because he was the champion in his rookie season in F3. He was a champion in his rookie season in F2. I need him to put a stunt like that in his rookie season in F1 as well. And I'm a bit scared that's not going to happen, but I just need him to score some points. Okay. And then the second team, because like I said, I wrote two teams for this prompt as well. Haas. Haas, their laps, which I think were always full fuel laps, they were always at the bottom of the timing pages. Almost always, except for Esteban Ocon in the afternoon session of Friday. And then I think they did low fuel laps. And then their timings were great. But when they did high fuel laps, their timings weren't that amazing, based on obviously the other drivers that probably did low fuel laps. And then also Friday in the morning session, Ollie Behrman lost a part of his car, and it was like, Ols, what's happened here? But he didn't do anything wrong, it just flew off, and I was like, that's not meant to happen, guys. So yeah, I hope Haas fix that problems, because Haas is right now one of my top teams, because obviously Ollie and I will support wherever that man goes. So I need Haas to do well. And last season they had a few races where they were great. Well, actually, they had a lot more than a few races where they were actually pretty well. They scored quite a lot of points actually. So I hope that they can keep that momentum going. But I don't know. After that preseason testing, I'm not that sure. But then again, I think Haas was also very bad in preseason testing last season. So yeah, we shall see, I guess. Then what did I write down? Biggest jump. And that, I mean, like, the biggest jump between last season's pre-season testing and this season's pre-season testing. And for me, that is Alpine, and I think that's for everybody. But apparently, Alpine has kept the same car, so they didn't change a whole big chunk of things on the car. They just changed minor, teeny tiny details, but the basic concept of the car is the car of last season, which is insane to me because last season at preseason testing, that car was overweight, and this season Pierre Gasly was pulling out fastest lap after fastest lap, and I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, biggest jump, definitely Alpine. I'm excited to see where they will fit into this field because I feel like this season everything is just so close together because obviously there is no team that is going to come with like a big package of upgrades because obviously it's the last year we will have these car regulations. Next season the whole car regulations change, and so next season is also going to be a very interesting year. So I advise you to watch next season as well. This season everything is going to be close together. Next season everything is going to be jumbled up. But yeah, I'm excited to see, definitely for like the middle teams, because we will obviously have the top teams and the middle teams. We will always have those, but I'm curious to see where those middle teams, how that will mix up. And then the last prompt I wrote down is biggest slump. With biggest slump, I mean like a team that had kind of a great year last season, and now in preseason testing, they were just one, either I didn't see them on track that much. Two, when they were on track, it was either for like 1 lap, 2 laps at a time, or their laps weren't great. And I have, again, two teams for this. The first one, Aston Martin. Aston Martin, I don't know, their whole momentum just, nope. It's not going strong anymore, and I don't expect them to have a strong car this season. Adrian Newey is at the team, yes, but he doesn't have anything to do with this car. You know what I mean? Like, this car is not a project of Adrian Newey. Next season car will be a project of Adrian Newey, and I think we will see a big difference between this season's Aston Martin and next season's Aston Martin. And then the second team, well, no, actually, talking about Aston Martin, Friday, they fucked that whole Friday up because Lance Stroll was supposed to have the whole day for himself. So he would do the morning session and he would do the afternoon session. But Lance had a terrible, terrible night of sleep on the night from Thursday to Friday, and so he wasn't feeling great. So Fernando jumped in the morning session. So the morning session was filled up. They did their running just as they planned to do with Lance, but then with Fernando, which obviously it's not ideal to have a different driver in your car than the driver you were supposed to have in your car, and it's not ideal for Lance either, but it's okay. But then came the afternoon. So Lance did, I think, around 18 laps, maybe more. And then he was like, I don't feel well. I can't do it anymore. So they were like, okay. And I think a whole hour went by without Aston Martin going back on track before Fernando Alonso was back in the garage, dressed in his suit with his race helmet on. Then they put Fernando Alonso in the car, who also didn't drive that many laps because he was also not feeling great. Yep. And I'm just like, okay, I get that you want your primary drivers to drive in the car, but you have a reserve driver there with you. You have Felipe Drugovich there at your disposal. Why not put him in the car? Why not just let him drive the car? Because that is way easier than letting your primary drivers drive who aren't feeling well. Like, he is fit. He can drive, right? If you don't have to pick between a driver who isn't feeling well and will probably do not that much laps, and a driver that is feeling well, that is fit to drive, and doing much more laps than the other driver, what would you choose? I'd say I'd go for that one. I'm just like, I don't get that. That is one thing at Aston Martin that I don't get. Yeah. Yep. And that's that for preseason testing. Okay, we're just gonna then Drive to Survive is coming out this Friday, actually. Yes. And so I had the genius idea to guess what the episodes are going to be about based on the titles. Now I took a look at the titles, and some of them pretty fucking obvious, others not that much. So I hope you have a good laugh in my answers here. The first episode is going to be called Business as Usual. And I thought about this, and I'm just like, I think that is going to be about Max Verstappen, but then again, Max has not been featured in the latest few seasons, so I'm just like, can it be about Max Verstappen? I don't know, because Business as Usual sounds like Max Verstappen winning a whole bunch of races again, which obviously we know he didn't do, but yeah, I feel like Drive to Survive might want to start with that, because I cannot think of something else that they could put in that video. Then we have Frenemies. And literally, no clue. It could be about Max Verstappen and Lando Norris title fight, but that being episode 2 would be confusing. So I'm just like, who else is a frenemy? Who else on the grid is frenemies? I don't know. I actually don't know. Yeah, the only thing I think is Max and Lando, but that would be weird. Then we have Looking Out for Number 1, and Number 1 implies Max once again. So I'm just like, is this going to be about Max once again? Because then we already have 3 episodes about Max, and that is not going to happen. Like, we all know that's not happening. So, yeah. But, like, there's got to be an episode about Lando getting his first win. Like, it has to be featured in one of the episodes. I also need an episode about Ollie, but none of these titles implement Ollie. Like, none of them. Just like, what did we do here, Netflix? Episode 4 is called Carlos Sainz. Not Sainz as in his last name, but Sainz as in signing something. So signing a contract. So obviously that will be about Carlos and him signing with Williams and everything like that. And obviously also a little bit about Lewis Hamilton, I think, because obviously Carlos had to sign for a different team because of Lewis going to Ferrari. The 5th episode is called Le Curse of Leclerc, which I think that title is genius. Which obviously is going to be about Leclerc winning in Monaco. And then obviously also Monza and Imola, I think. Did he win at Imola? I don't know. I think he won at least one of the Italian races, but I have forgotten that. Episode 6 is going to be called Wheels of Fortune, which, what could that mean? I don't know. Maybe? No, because the next episode is going to be of Daniel. Wheels of Fortune. Franco Colapinto. No? Maybe? I don't know. It could be about Franco Colapinto joining Williams. But then it's also going to be partly about Logan. So then episode 7, In the Heat of the Night, which I know for a fact, well actually I don't know this, but I have a 99.99% this episode is going to be about Daniel. Right? Right? In the Heat of the Night? That kind of sounds like an episode about Daniel. And then the last episode is Elbows Out, which I think that is going to be about the title fight, because yeah, that sounds more logical. That's it. 8 episodes of the season, which, you know, I will fucking binge watch. I will. Yep. And if there is an episode about Ollie, I will rewatch that episode twice, maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times. I don't know how many times, but probably a lot. Yep. Is it obvious that Ollie is my favorite driver this season? I don't know. I don't have any of his merch, which I really wanted, because he came out with a new t-shirt that normally he has his like navy blue shirts or navy blue hoodies, and he has like on the left side of his chest, it's like his logo, like the bear logo, but in fluorescent yellow. He came out with a new one with that logo in fluorescent pink, and I was like, stop. I need that. And then on the back, it has like a helmet, kind of his helmet, but not really his helmet, but kind of in pink and white. And I was like, I need that. But it's, what was it again? Almost 44 euros, which is without shipping, because obviously since I live in Belgium, it doesn't include shipping, so I need to pay for shipping as well, which is also, I think, around another 20 euros, which would put that shirt, one t-shirt, on 60 euros, which I just a student. I don't have that kind of money. So this is me basically begging you, Ollie, to lower your prices for your merch or to send me a PR package, which I would happily receive, and I would happily open this on the podcast. Thank you very much. Anyway, also, since I'm now requesting things here, I'm requesting the person that is in charge of the F1 website to please update those driver profile pictures, because I have the ones of the F1, F2 grid. I have the ones of the F2 grid. Like, look, I'll show you, which I need to talk about that in a minute as well. Wait, where is it? I'm just opening it on a random team. Nope. So I have them, like these two. I have them. I have them of literally all the drivers. I have it printed out. But I need them of the F1 website as well, because I need those pictures to put them in my journal as well, because without them I cannot finish my journal. So yeah, talking about those pictures, I just showed you my F2 pictures. I already need to rip one out. Yeah. Because Christian Mansell, who would race for Rodin Motorsport, has decided to take a step away from racing to focus on his mental health and just, on himself for we don't know how long. And his replacement is yet to be announced, which I'm kind of sad to see Christian go. I didn't get to see him drive a lot last season because I think he jumped from F3 to F2 in the middle of the season somewhere. But I did get to see him race. I think at least one race, maybe two, maybe three. And he was actually quite a good racer. So I'm a bit sad to see him go. But I think it is very important that drivers need to learn to focus on their mental health. If they feel like it's not going great with myself, I need to take a step back, they need to know that that's okay to do. And I think Christian Mansell is one of those drivers that really knows that it is okay to do that. I don't know if you get what I mean there. So I hope whatever is on his mind right now and whatever is happening with him and his mind and whatever, I hope it gets fixed soon, and I hope he will soon find the love for racing again and will soon be racing again, because I really think he deserves to be racing. And then better news, we have two new signings in the F1 Academy, for the F1 Academy grid. Now, these names, y'all listen. For F2, Sami Megatonev, I can say that right now perfectly, which I realized he is French, so it's probably not going to be the way how I pronounced it. It's probably going to be like Sami Megatonev, something like that, which I really enjoy saying names how I think they should be pronounced. I don't know if you get what I mean, but like, for example, Max Verstappen. Everybody says it with an English accent, says Max Verstappen. But me, as a Belgian person, I say Max Verstappen, which is the correct way to pronounce it, which I love doing. Anyway, the F1 Academy signings. I'm gonna try. If I mispronounce this, I'm so sorry. So, I don't know how many letters this name has. I'm going to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. In the last name are 13 letters. So her first name is Iva, which I can say. And then her last name. Wait! Wait! I tried this before the episode and I was like, okay, I got this, but now I can't do it. Performance fright. So her first name is Iva. Iva Nostiadis. Iva? Iva, I can't do this. What country is she from? I need to know, because then I can Google it. Like I can look it up on like what's it called? Google Translate. Where is she from? Oh, she is Australian, so I should be able to pronounce this. Wait, let me retry this. Iva Anagnostiadis. Yeah, that, but it's not correctly pronounced, and I know that. But hey, not my fault. She has that difficult of a name. So Iva will be. Let's just call her Iva. She will be backed by Tech Oya, which I also not pronouncing that correctly, but whatever. And then the second signing is Joanne Cinconte, which I don't know what country she is from, but also let's look that up. She's also Australian. Great! These Australians are really doing it for me. Why can't they all have like an easy name like Jack Doohan or Oscar Piastri? Like, it's not that difficult, is it? Like, is there a reason why Australians have difficult last names? So her first name is Joanne. Cinconte is her last name, but I'm not pronouncing that correctly, and I know that. My apologies. She will be backed by F1 Academy, so she will ride with the F1 Academy livery, which honestly my favorite livery, because it has pink, it has purple, it has blue, it's white, it's everything. Like, I love it. It's so girly. I also need to know who will be backed by Charlotte Tilbury, but I think none of the signed drivers will be backed by Charlotte Tilbury yet, because that livery last season, Lola Love and Fast, oh my god. I love that, with like the pink and then the lips on it. Obsessed. Nope. So it's not confirmed yet. Maybe the last driver, because we only need one more driver to complete the grid. Maybe that driver will be backed by Charlotte Tilbury. Because I know Charlotte Tilbury is a big sponsor of F1 Academy. So yeah, that's exciting. There was something that I wanted to talk about, but I forgot. Yes. When I mentioned Tech Hoya for the signing of Iva, I immediately thought back to the new graphics we have on F1 TV, because obviously the timing sponsor, changed from Rolex to Tech Heuer. And I talked about this in my previous episode somewhere. And we also have new graphics now, which at first I needed to get used to, but actually I kind of like them for some reason. The radio one, I don't know about that just yet, because the text is not coming underneath it anymore, and I really needed that to follow, to know what they were actually saying. So I hope they might do that for the races, because sometimes I'm just like, what are you saying, babes? Speak up, please. So yeah, I don't know, but like the other graphic where it's like where everyone is, and then sometimes they have like the one person graphic at the bottom. I like those. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a fan of them. They're new, they're different. They also don't have round corners anymore, which I don't like that, because I love round corners. But you know, whatever they decide to do, it's okay. But yeah, that is everything I had for today's episode. Next up, which is insane. Well, technically next up we have Drive to Survive launch. But after Drive to Survive, it is race week again. And obviously, I will make a whole entire episode dedicated to the Australian Grand Prix. So I hope you will join me again next week. Next week will be again a Friday episode, I think. Yep, it will be a Friday episode. Or maybe a Thursday episode if I can get it out in the afternoon. But probably a Friday episode. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you will enjoy the Drive to Survive episodes. And yeah, you on Spotify will hear me again next week. You on YouTube, you will see me again next week. And yeah, that's it. Bye!